Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to continue with our chapter number 3 from software architecture and design patterns. That is chapter number 3, software architecture styles. Okay. So in last sessions we have seen multiple architectural styles like uh, pipe and filters, repositories. Okay. Several event-based architectural styles, blackboard styles. So today we are going to continue with next styles, that is heterogeneous architecture. Okay. So what a heterogeneous architecture is? It is a combination of different architectures at different phases. It is a combination of different architectural styles. Okay, at different phases. So there are three kinds of heterogeneity. So first one is locationally heterogeneous, hierarchically heterogeneous, and simultaneously heterogeneous. These are three heterogeneous architectures in heterogeneous architecture. Okay, so first one, locationally heterogeneous. That means that it means that a drawing of its runtime structures will reveal patterns of different styles in different areas. Okay, here there is an example. Some branches of some branches of a main program and subroutine systems might have a shared data repository. That means database. At run times, it may possible that the database is changed at some changes are happen at runtime. Okay, so this is at based on that run times we have to draw that architecture, that is locationally heterogeneous architecture. Okay, so second one is hierarchically heterogeneous. It means that a component of one style, okay, a component of one style, when it is decomposed, it is structured according to the rules of different styles. Okay, so for example, at end user interface, subsystem might be built using event system architectural styles, while all other subsystems using layer architecturals. Here you can see a component of any one style, when it is decomposed, then we have to restructure that component according to new rules or with different styles. Based on the different styles we have to restructure that component. Okay, that is hierarchically heterogeneous. Here you have seen that example, end user interface, okay, or subsystems might be built using event system architecture styles, or other subsystems are using layered architectures. Okay, whenever we are going to decompose that system, we are going to using restructure that architecture using or component using new structures or new architecture. Then third one is simultaneously heterogeneous. It means that any of several styles maybe will be apt description of the systems. Okay, simultaneously, whenever changes are happen simultaneously, that means we are going to draw this architecturals using the description of that systems. Okay, based on their changes. Okay, this is the heterogeneous architecture here. Okay, next one is interpreter style. Okay, so what is the interpreter style here? It is suitable for applications in which most appropriate language or machine for executing the solution is not directly available. Okay, so whenever we are going to execute anything, any structure, any program, okay, so that means that machine for execution is not available directly. You know that what is the interpreter is. Okay, so what are the components here? It include one state of machine for the execution engine and three memories. What are the memories here? Current state of the execution engine, then program being interpreted, current state of the program being interpreted. Okay, here you can see the components. First one is current state of that executed execution of that machine. Okay, then program being interpreted and the current state of that program being interpreted. Okay, these are the components in this style. And then what are the connectors here? Procedure calls, direct memory access. So you can see several examples of interpreter styles like programming language compilers. Okay, here you can see the compilers for Java, Smalltalk, then rule-based systems like Prolog. Corel, then scripting languages like Perl, AWK. Okay, here you can see the examples of interpreter for Java architecture. Okay, here we are having Java source code. Okay, then we are having compiler. That Java source code using compiler is converted into Java bytecode. Okay, so what is the interpreter in this? So that bytecode is verified. After that, we'll use or system uses the class loader. Okay, we have seen what is class loader is. It will load the classes. Okay, required for that execution. That bytecode after verification of that bytecode, that class loader will load that bytecode using several classes. Okay, so here you can see the interpreter. What that interpreter will do, it will interpret that bytecoder. Okay, so we will get that, or we will execute that dot class file here. Okay, so at this is the runtime environment. Here you can see that using that interpreter we will interpret that file, and at the runtime environment we are going to execute that file. Okay, here you can see that hardware part. So this is the example of interpreter style for Java architecture. Okay, so what are the advantages of this style? Simulation. Okay, simulation of non-implemented hardware. Then it facilitates portability of application or languages across a variety of platform. Okay, portability of applications. Okay, through interpreter. Okay, at multiple platforms. These are the advantages of interpreter style. And then what are the disadvantages? Here you can see extra level of indirection slows down the execution. Okay, so there are several levels of indirection so that it slows down the execution of that process. Okay, then Java has an option to compile the code. Here we are having just in time compiler. Okay, so this is the interpreter style of software architecture. The next style is process control style. Okay, so yeah, it is suitable for applications whose purpose is to maintain specified properties of the output of processes at given reference values. Okay, what it maintains? It maintains the specified properties of output of processes. Okay, so what are the components in this style? Process definition, control algorithm. Okay, these are the components of process control styles. What process definition? It includes mechanisms for manipulating some process variables, and control algorithm is for deciding how to manipulate that process variables that we are going to pass. Okay, that is input variables. What are the connectors in this style? That is data flow. Okay, data flow in the form of process variables, set points and sensors. Okay, these are the connectors for those components like process definition and control algorithm. So what process variables includes? Control variable, then input variable. Okay, then manipulated variable, then next one is set point. Set point connector, it is the desired value of for a control variable. We are going to fix that point. Okay, that is desired value like thresholds. Then sensors. What is sensors for this? To obtain the values of process variable. Okay, whenever we are going to process that variable, to obtain that values we are going to use sensors for pertinent control. Okay, then here you can see the feedback control system. Feedback control system for this style. Okay, what it includes? The control variable is measured and the result is used to manipulate one or more of the process variable to control or to manipulate one or more of the process variables. Here you can see the controller and the process. Okay, these are the components. Here you can see the connectors, input variables given to that process. Okay, then the control variable, output of this given as input to that control. Here we have set point, we have set the values of that control variable. Okay, so after controller, after processing here the changes to manipulated variables, after processing that input variables we are again give that input to that process. Okay, here you can see the sensors for control variables. This is the feedback control system. Okay, process control, here you can see how processes are going to be controlled here. Okay, these are the connectors and these are the components for the systems. The next one is open loop control. Here, what is the difference? You can see here difference between feedback control system and open. Here you can see the feedback. Here you can see this connector is going to be feedback to that again process. Here you can see the changes is again going to be changes to that manipulated in variables is input to that process again. Okay, then what is open loop control? Here information about process variables is not used to adjust the system. Here you can see input variables directly given to process or the controller. Here we have set the set point here. Okay, so here you can see the control variable. In this feedback we have given that variable control variable passes that to controller. Here we have, you can see we have not passed here, that is open loop control. Okay, changes manipulated variables directly passes to that process. Okay, we have not used sensors for control variables here in open loop control. Okay, so what is the example for process control style? Real time system software like automobile anti-lock brakes, nuclear power points, or automobile cruise controls. Here you can see the example. Example for process control style. Okay, here you can see the controller and engine. Okay, so there is a desired speed. We have set the point. Here you can see set point desired speed. We are going to set the desired speed for that engine. Okay, so what we have to go control that variables. Okay, throttle settings of that engine. Here you can see the pulse from wheel. Okay, wheel rotations, that engine is active or inactive, that is inactive or inactive variables. Okay, we are going to pass that variables to that engine. After wheel rotation we are going to check that pulse from that wheel by sensors. Okay, so this is the process control style for that engines. Okay, so these are some heterogeneous architectural for architectural styles. Okay, so we have seen that process control style, heterogeneous architecture, then interpreter styles. Okay, so next one we are going to see client server style. Okay, then what is client server style? Here you can see that as a from the architectural viewpoint, a client server system is made up of components which can be classified according to the service abstractions. Like who provides services is server will provide services. Then who requires a service, that is client requires services from server. Okay, so here you can see a client is a program used by a user, okay, to communicate with the system or to communicate with the server. Okay, here but server can be a client for different services. Okay, so here you can see the clients are aware of the server interface. Server cannot foresee the client's request. Here you can see the client who can request to the server and it will provide server will provide services to that client. Multiple services can be provided to that client. Okay, then client server styles. Here most systems can be logically divided into three parts, like presentation, application processing, that may be logic, or data management or database. Okay, here you can see what presentation includes. Presentation includes what? That graphical events, GUI, input fields. Okay, at the user side or end at the user end. Then what actual? Then the actual application logic will be included in that application processing. Then data management here. Okay, for the management of persistent data. Here we are going to manage the database at data management tier. Okay, so that architecture can be of two-tier, three-tier architecture or EN-tier architecture. Here you can see the client server style for two tiers. Okay, client server architectures. Here you can see the server and client, fat server, fat client. Here you can centralize or decentralize server. Okay, for time sharing, the server is going to be consist of data, logic, and presentations at server side, okay, and at client side only terminal is there, okay. So this is two tiers for time sharing systems, okay. Then client at presentation, here you can see at server side data and logic will be at server side, and that client is for, here you can see the x terminal, multiple terminals are there, only presentation tier is at client side, okay. For distributed application, server consists of data, that is database or logic at server side, as well as the systems are distributed, so at client is also contains some logical part here, and presentation tier at client side, okay. For distributed, for central database, the data is available at server side, where client is going to access the data from server, okay. So client is having logic or logical part here for processing that applications, okay, using some commands, that data is going to be accessed by the client, like in server, or sorry, central database. Or for distributed database, data is available at server or client also, okay. So here you can see that logical part, or that all these layers are present at client side, okay. This is for distributed database, this is the client server styles, okay. So see the example for client server is accessing the web, okay, through HTTP protocols or some TCP or ASCII based request, okay. User is going to request for or through web browser to web server using some DNS server or some ports like HTTP ports or HTTPS, okay. The port number is for HTTP is 80 and 443 is for HTTPS, secure HTTPS, okay. So how we can access the web browser, sorry, web server? User is going to request for web browser using URLs, okay. Then that request is processed by that web server, okay. Then web server will respond to that web browser, that is at the presentation here, okay. So this is the example for client server styles, okay. So there are several like 3 tier, then n tier architecture is there, okay. Here you can see the n tier architecture, yeah, okay. This is the n tier example of n tiers architecture. There are multiple clients is there, multiple servers are also integrated, okay. So that's it for this session, and we are end up with chapter number 3. Thank you.